simply involve the community as it seeks to do so. So I'd be willing, and I know the planner is also, to work with Councilman Osier to develop a policy for your consideration. I think it's important to emphasize that, and I think it's already been said, that ultimately it is this council, the five sitting members of this council to make the final decision. And I don't think anything should be done to change that. That is, and you know, as I look back, we can be disappointed over some of the disappointment, if you will. That, you know, we won't always all agree. But I, for one, as the sitting administrator and as a resident, look at what we've just been through and say, I think it's been, Mr. Zielinski, maybe you can tell, 5 different councils have had the opportunity to pull the trigger on a purchase of the parcel that you know, got everyone some folks so flustered. That's a lot of different opinion, a lot of different consideration, and ultimately it hasn't happened. And I think a big piece of that is certainly finance. I mean, clearly, were we in a different scenario from a cash flow standpoint? Yeah, can we borrow? Yeah, we can borrow. Is that the smart thing to do? I think the decision making by the council has been good, and I think it needs to stay there. Can we, refine the process to make sure that the objectives of the comp plan are met, and that an appropriate scoring system is in place? Looking at the Middletown ordinance, that's impressive. They've got something worked out. Maybe I'm not familiar with what we have in ours. So I'd give consideration, or be willing to take part in an effort to try to formalize that, to make sure that the next time something comes forward to the council, to a council, that there's a certainty that each of the elements that should be offering input and recommendation have done so in a format that, at least to start with, meets this council's understanding of the need. I'd be happy to work on that if it's your choice.
I want to make sure I'm following this. So, Gary, basically, you're willing, of course, the town planner is willing to help out as well. And it would include public comment, Conservation Commission, sponsor rec, and land trust. Perfect. I think that's a great solution. Thank you for offering that up. I just don't see that we need another committee or another commission or whatever we're going to call it. And it'll be open. People can come and present what they wish, and with day-to-day people on the job, meaning yourself and the planner and the other volunteers that we find it hard to staff or to fill roles in this town for commissions and committees. So I think you just offered up a great solution, Garrett. Thanks.
If I might add, it's not something that happens all the time. Obviously, we've spent over 10 years on one piece of land. The people aren't falling down over themselves saying, hey, we got space. But the other side to that is we still have something in place that as people are developing land, we're going to donate a certain portion of it to the town. So we still have that opportunity to increase the open space that we have. So is there a motion to be up there? I'd entertain a motion that we authorize the administrator to work with the town planner to work on developing a policy for our approval on open space initiative.
Mr. President, you would just expand that motion to include the public, of course, the Conservation Commission, Land Trust, as well as, I forgot Land Trust. Parks and Rec, thank you.
And I would like to be a part of that.
Oh, sure, you can be the liaison, absolutely. It's a great idea, Council. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, is that your motion? Okay, I second
I'll
that.
second.
I'll second.
Mr. Bottomoli? Yes. Mr. Osier?
Yes.
Mr. Zielinski?
Yes.
Mr. Magnan?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on solid waste and recycling services agreement. Mr. Ezovski, all this really is just an agreement to say we can go and put our trash at the landfill, basically?
It's the only agreement in town, folks. And there are a lot of things that I'm willing to try to negotiate or renegotiate. I don't think there's much hope of changing a word in here. We're fortunate to still have this professionally run facility available to us with little, if any, difficulty working with our hauler. So it's a system that works. It is what it is.
There is no other show. Yeah, question from Mr. President. Yeah, so it's 47 per ton for fiscal year 2020. Until we hit that magical cap. I tried to figure it out. We went into recyclables. It's based on, then went into seasonal communities, depending on how many people are in the home. What is our cap? How many tons do we get for $47 a ton, and at what point does it increase? Are we near that, or?
No, as I've looked at our, I can't tell you that off the top of my head. I have looked at it over time. We have worked within the allotments that are available to us, with the exception of yard waste. We end up having we have to borrow unused allotment from other communities. I think it's typically come from borrowing. And we're happy to have that because I don't know if
that could go into the tipping fees. Regular tipping fees.
People could put it in the trash and be paying the full rate for it. But I think more than likely, Mr. President, it winds up by the side of the road somewhere. And it is unfortunate. I've certainly seen it in my neighborhood from time to time. So yeah, that's the only one that I'm aware of or recall we bump up against a limit. We do pretty well, and our recycling rate is quite good. We continue to try to make it better with notice to folks who don't perform, and we get reports from time to time that from residents saying they saw their recycle bin being dumped in the trash truck as opposed to the recycle truck, and we chase those comments and work with our hauler to make sure that everybody's doing as they should. So, until there is some kind of technological change on what we do with our solid waste, you have.
There is a solution, but this time the state doesn't want to look at it. No. There are incinerators in the middle of downtown Minneapolis. It's literally in the middle of the city between Target Field and Target Arena. It creates all the electricity for the municipality in those two stadiums. It's in the middle of the city and no one knows it. Technology has come a long way in trash energy facilities. This state doesn't want them at all. And we have the highest point in the state is our dump.
Has it passed Mount? It's Mount Trashmore?
It is the highest point in the state.
Mount Trashmore, I know, Jeremy Hills is still
Might
up
be
there.
close, but it's quite the highest one.
Mount Trashmore.
So is there a motion to approve
It's a move, Mr. President.
the agreement with Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation and authorize the administrator to sign it?
Yes, so move.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski, second by Mrs. Bottomoli. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mr. Osier?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on request to rescind ordinance section 15-5, subsection 16, no vehicle shall be parked on any public highway for more than 2 hours. At a time between the hours of 12 midnight and 6 a.m. In deference to Mrs. O'Hara not being here, I would suggest that we move it to the 17th. Oh, she's here.
I don't,
We've already addressed item I. Okay, next item. Discussion by council board or other action on change orders number 5 and number 6. I'll take responsibility for this not being properly listed. I did have a memo from Mr. Ezovski asking that this be put on there, and it was listed as Parkview and Edward Avenue Sewer Project. Just in my haste, when I looked at the agenda, I didn't notice that it wasn't listed on that. It's not an action to try and hide something from anybody. It's not something to be nefarious and say, hey, we're not going to let people know what we're doing. It's completely on my shoulders. I didn't catch it when I approved the agenda. So I'm going to make the suggestion that we move this, can we wait till the 17th, Gary? Or is it more time sensitive?
Mr. President, it depends on what happens tomorrow. I mean, the issue is trying to be ready for the time when the developer of the plat extension does file the plat. We want to be able to authorize the contractor to go forward as soon as possible. He's been anxious to do this. He's maintained a good relationship with Anachilla Construction. And there are also people who are looking to connect to the sewer. They've got other job projects they're looking to do, other home projects they're looking to do, and some have issues with their systems. And all of this is now still hanging on that circumstance, and we fully expect that the developer will be submitting the letter of credit that's needed to be able to ensure that the street will be installed as required by the subdivision regulations and all. But you know, authorizing the contract to go forward until we know that just can't be done. We just can't be incurring some cost, which would be.
So we'll know tomorrow.
Well,
Oh,
I
we
say
hope-
tomorrow.
we
I'm
hope to have
hoping
an
it'll be
answer.
tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. And my one putting this on the agenda now is to be ready to have the authority to be able to sign that agreement as soon as we had the plat filed. I'd ask that you have it on for next Monday, actually, if it's possible.
You'll have an idea by Thursday, so that the clerk can put it on
Right.
for Monday's agenda and
Exactly.
just, okay.
Thank you.
Everyone's okay with that? Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on bid for Pound Hill Road Sewer Pump Station Pump Rebuild. Mr. Mason, again.
We received 3 bids, as the memo states, on April 6th. The superintendent, Russ Carpenter, had suggested not the lowest bid due to the fact that there was pricing missing for the swing check valves, and he felt that was very important. So he was proposing to go with the second bidder, which is Delta Electro Power Inc., in the amount of $49,206.67.
So the recommendation from the water superintendent and yourself is to award to Delta Electro Power $49,206.67.
Correct.
Your motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by-
There's no discussion.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski, second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bottomoli, discussion?
No, just one motion.
Roll call vote?
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mr. Osier?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vannen?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or action on award bid for Pound Hill Road. Discussion by council vote or other action on design and construction administrative award for Mechanic Street, Old Gray Road Waterline Extension. Mr. Yudowski.
We have completed an RFQ process, and with the input of the water superintendent as well as the DPW director, and I also called on fellow resident Russ Hood, who we all know is also a professional engineer and part of leadership in the Kentucky water supply system, to review the qualifications that were submitted. We had 5 submissions. We asked 3 of the 5 entities to submit cost proposals, and the unanimous recommendation of the 4 of us is to award the design work for this water line to James Jeremy,
Associates, yeah.
on the list, I'm sorry, I lost it. James J. Jeremy and Associates. And we're ready to entertain any questions.
We have the recommendation by the administrator. There a motion to approve and authorize for signature by the town administrator a contract or agreement for Mechanic Street, Old Gray Road water main installation with James J. Jeremiah and Associates.
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bonioli, second.
Just clarification, the amount of, what's the,
Total value,
71?
no, it's 100 and, it's a total of two numbers that,
Okay, that's what I was missing, so it's total?
It's on this.
Okay.
39,993.
And 7106, oh, yep, okay.
39,993.
7106,
It's a sub, please.
Yep, got it.
there's a total of new stuff. I'm sorry.
Contracted bid is for the total of $71,060. Construction administrative and inspection, resident inspection. So there's a motion, is there a second?
39.
That's the 39,000.
It's two of them, right?
Right.
Two of the 39,993, it's a 7160, right?
Right.
Yes, that total.
It's two.
Yeah.
Two
My
separate-
Two
understanding.
costs, the total, yes.
Okay.
I don't have it. It's in the document, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to put my finger on it at the moment. I
So
have my
one
glasses
is
on.
the design fee, which is the 39,993. And the second is the construction administration and resident inspection for 71,060.
For a total of,
110,993.
no,
No.
I don't think the total, right? Of course, I can go through it, yeah, that's a strange person. Come on, work with me.
11.
Which would be a 111,050.
Yeah, that's what I got, 50, yeah. Doug?
1153?
Yes.
111,053.
Got a motion?
So when I, we don't have,
Second.
well, no, we don't have a second yet. We have a motion. We have a motion to award, to approve and authorize, to award James Jeremiah contract for Mechanic Street and Great Road water main installation in the amount of $111,053. You made that motion.
Yes.
So now there's a second. Now we're looking for a second.
Mr. President, I don't mean to.
Separate.
Isn't it two separate
Yes.
contracts?
No, it's one agreement.
One of them.
Should we mention it though in the motion of 39 and then the other one
It's
is?
two separate, it's one agreement but two separate functions.
It's a breakdown.
Yeah, itemized.
Yeah.
Contract is two pieces, design services and
Yes.
construction services.
So in the motion, do we want to mention the 39,993 and the $71,060 separately?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think, yeah.
you want to restate your motion?
Yes. All right, so approval of the design and construction contracts, the first being the design fee of $39,993. And the second part of this is the construction administration and resident inspection fee of $71,060
For a grand total of
for a grand total of $111.53.
$111,000. $111,053.
I'm sorry.
I like to do that. There's a motion and a second by Mrs. Zelinski. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all,
Mrs. Bottomoli? Yes. Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr. Swansky?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
yes. You've already moved up. Item L. Next item is item M, discussion by council vote other action on payment to STV DPM for professional services. Mr. Ezovski. That's our opinion. Gentleman was here earlier. This is
Yes. This is the first requisition for payment by STV, DPM for the services of both the elementary school addition and the renovations of the high school. The total amount due this invoice is $1,270.
For the recommendation of the administrator, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonioli. Any other discussion? Roll call vote?
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on award of bids for highway surplus vehicle equipment sale. Mr. Mason. We have to take these each individually?
That's what I was gonna ask you, do I have to?
I think we probably
Do I have to
should.
read each
I think we
one?
probably should.
Okay. Okay, on May 29th, we received bids for some surplus equipment and vehicles from the DPW department. And I'm gonna read them as follows. And I just wanna let you know that these are the highest bidders only. On the backup, you will see all the other bid, if there was more than one bid for each item. So for the 2000 red GMC, it was Corkery for $1,587.19. 1990 red GMC Corkery, $355. 1993 red GMC was Wayne LaFave for $1,263. 2004 red engine 2 rotted frame for Corkery, also $444.40. 2003 gray Crown Victoria was Wayne LaFave, $203. 10-foot plow, Corkery, $387.13. Another 10-foot plow, Corkery, $280. A 10-foot plow, Corkery, $269. Another 10-foot plow, Wayne LaFave, $102. 8-foot sander, Wayne LaFave, $152. 8-foot sander, Wayne LaFave, $152.